The following is a special presentation of Extreme eSpeed TV, your new home for everything iRacing and eSpeed.
Good evening and welcome to the third annual Illinois Dirt Classic presented by Combs Cuts. I am your play-by-play man, Adam Johnson, and I am more than happy to spend an evening here with you at Fairbury Speedway. It is race number 10 on the season, but number 1 of 2 this week. That's right, the Illinois Dirt Classic is back for the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series, and as you can see on your screen, we have the drivers taking some laps right now, getting a feel for how things are going to go tonight. I am glad you're here. Settle in. Enjoy the sights and sounds right now as we get geared up for a fun night of racing with the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series. Once again, we've got some early lap times coming out right now. Zach Chapman, Aiden Young, Dylan Perry, and Brandon Combs, since we've started the broadcast, making some laps around Fairbury. If this is a new track for you, well, it's got a lot of history. It's a quarter-mile semi-banked dirt oval, and it is going to be very, very fast. And as I take a look at the time, I want you guys to know that we've got a full evening of action planned for each and every one of you. Of course, we have the hot laps going on right now. There'll be a driver meeting in about 10 minutes and Houston Guttering time trials. That'll kind of set the field and prepare us for the carrier heats that'll come up. Those are 8 laps, and boy, do they go quickly, especially on this track. And of course, we'll have the Combs Cuts Last Chance Showdown. Don't forget, Combs Cuts is when you want to be a cut above. And then, of course, we'll have a 10-minute intermission around 9 p.m., followed by the main event, a 50-lap feature from Fairbury. But until then, get settled in, like I mentioned, and we're going to pay some bills right now and be right back on Extreme eSpeed TV.
People want to have a one-stop shop. They need us for now all these different services, not just the heating and air side.
When things are going wrong, you want the company that's going to be able to get things done as fast as possible for you.
Today we're going to be in over 600 homes. What the customers can count on is we're going to send a competent person to your home with a vehicle that's stocked and prepared. We're going to do what's right.
Right now, we're waiving our $79 service fee with any Coolray, Brite Box, or Mr. Plumber service.
We all need hot water. Some of us need more than others. So it's a good thing that State has a wide range of tough commercial-grade water heaters for your home. From standard models to high-efficiency and tankless models, we've got you covered, no matter where you live, what you do, or who started it. To install a State water heater in your home, visit statewaterheaters.com and use our contractor locator to find an installer near you.
And welcome back, everybody, to Fairbury Speedway. About 15 minutes remaining in the practice session. And, of course, as you saw there from the last commercial spot, it's Combs cuts. You want to be a cut above, and that's just what we expect to see from a lot of the guys in the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series tonight. You see them heading out onto the track, get a little bit more practice in. And look at that, a little eager to get out there, it looks like, as we'll have all sorts of camera angles and looks for you tonight. And it'll be a very fun evening. And in just a few moments, we'll be going over Adam's notebook. It may just be solo, myself in the booth. But, of course, we still have to go over the notes and nuggets and everything you need to know about this league. There's a lot going on. There really is. And it's about to be a very, very busy month of June ahead. And I'm going to give you a chance here to listen to those sights and sounds. Look at the guys kind of riding the high line right now in practice, but talked to several of the drivers earlier today. That track is going to change drastically, and these laps are going to go quickly. So a lot of adverbs, a lot of adjectives to describe exactly what's going to go on tonight. But I'm going to give you some sights and sounds right now, and we'll pay a few bills a little bit after that. But right now you're looking at a lot of speed on Extreme eSpeed TV. And we're coming at you with some of the Adams Notebook Nuggets. I know you guys have been waiting to listen to this. It's been a little while since we've had our last race, so I'm here to share with you that we do have the 3rd Annual Illinois Dirt Classic going on tonight and tomorrow from Fairbury Speedway, of course. So a lot of action in Illinois. In fact, this was an 11-hour, 700-mile drive from our last track, Lanier Speedway, out in Georgia. So a little bit different scenery, crossing over a time zone. There's a lot of changes going on, but the racing stays the same. It stays intense. And of course, as I jump back into the notebook, I want you to know that short tracks are going to take center stage this week and next week. So if you have Fairbury this time around, and you guys always know it, if we have I-55 coming up after that, it'll be the Ironman 55 presented by 107 Tire and Service Center. So that'll be a fun one. We want to know who's going to step up and take on the top 2 in points. Who can make it through these summer months and make a name for themselves? Right now it is the Dylan Perry and John Foskey show. We've all seen it. There's a lot of episodes that have played out so far. But do we have Justin Thompson, who's in 3rd? Do we have Aiden Young, who's in 4th? Who's going to be that guy who really makes a move in these months? Because there's going to be a lot of change. If you look at the standings right now, they're going to look a lot different by the end of the month of June. I truly believe that. Something else you want to watch, maybe for tonight, maybe more short-sighted. Tater Williams, he swept the Illinois Dirt Classic back in 2021. So Tater, in fact, he is tied for 2nd alongside Dylan Perry, the rookie, on the all-time wins list for the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series. So A little bit of competition there. Tater's still looking for that first win on the year. He's 5th in points, so he's not getting blown out by any means. So really eager to see what Tater can do tonight. We know he does well at this track. We don't know how Dylan Perry does at this track. In terms of watching from this side, in this league, we haven't been kind of teased in any sort of way. So what Perry puts down in the Houston Guttering time trials and practice right now, we're very curious. We're all eyes wide open, ready to see what happens. And I know you're ready to see what happens, but first we have to see some amazing commercial spots, and I'm eager to show these to you. And we'll be right back on Extreme eSpeed TV.
Racers, get the most horsepower from your great engine with ProFabrication Headers and Exhaust. ProFabrication Headers and Exhaust is an official partner of the American Crate All-Star Series and used by winning racers such as Dylan Brown, Logan Robertson, Carson Ferguson, Christian Hanger, Cody Overton, and Eli Beats. ProFabrication Headers and Exhaust, just a click of a mouse away at ProFabrication.com. Quality that wins. Get yours at ProFabrication.com.
Hello, my name is Benny Boudreau and I created the Springrthm app. The Springrthm app allows someone who doesn't have access to a spring smasher to be able to set their car up to their manufacturer's suggested install loads and center to centers, as well as be able to figure out their dynamic loads, as well as make adjustments to them to make their handling of their car better. For someone who does have a spring smasher, Springrthm will greatly reduce the amount of time to figure out those new stack setups by allowing for instantaneous spring rate changes as well as load changes. Springrthm will even make sure that your setup doesn't coil bind at the loads that you're trying to hit. For only $4.99 a month, you too can have access to the same information that top late model teams across the country are using to gain a competitive advantage.
It rose from humble beginnings in the Valley of the Sun. A sprint car racer saw the need for racing shirts. And now, the vision of Carl Korbacher has resulted in Arizona sports shirts helping racers across America spread their message. For the best custom designed shirts, hoodies, caps, koozies, and much more, go to ArizonaSportShirts.com. Be part of history.
Racers that win, pour it in, and we appreciate you.
We take many precautions to stay protected. Online protection requires the same amount of precaution. Cybercrime is a $6 trillion industry. Roughly 158 people fall victim to this type of crime every second, and a business will be compromised every 11 seconds. In the last 3 years alone, the number of malicious websites has increased by 130%. Bottom line, you need protection from someone you trust. Call Computer Pros for protection plans as low as $4 a month.
With the ButtKicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. ButtKicker, the future is feeling.
Dyer Trucking in Mohawk, Tennessee is family-owned and operated, and their main goal is to always please their customers and deliver their freight in a timely manner. If you need it hauled and you're in East Tennessee, the number you need is 423-393-4229. That's 423-393-4229. Dyer Trucking's also on Facebook. Pick up the phone and give Brad and his family a call today. Dyer Trucking. If you need it, they can get it. Find them on Facebook.
And welcome back, everybody, to Fairbury Speedway. Just over 5 minutes remaining until we get the action going with some Houston Guttering time trials. And the drivers right now are wrapping up their meeting, their regularly scheduled programming. And this is going to be anything but a regular month as we look ahead on the 2022 schedule. Want to give you a little bit of a preview. We have, of course, the Illinois Dirt Classic tonight and tomorrow, but then next Wednesday, the Ironman 55 at I-55. Then a week later, the Hawkeye 40 at Knoxville. And then we take a little bit of a break and we jump back 13 days later for the River Valley Rumble at Port Royal. Next day, Rumble at the Grove at Williams Grove. So there's a lot. And of course that follows up into that where we have a couple races back to back in July, the 5th and 6th. But then we'll get a little bit of break and we'll keep it rolling into August. So before you know it, the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series, we're starting to rack up some races right now. And we'd like to rack up some conversation with you as I take a look at the YouTube channel on Extreme eSpeed TV. It looks like we have Ryan Seneker watching. He's saying, let's sling some dirt. And Ryan, I could not agree more. And if you want dirt to be slung, there's no better place to be than Fairbury Speedway. This is going to be a very fast, a very controlled chaotic race. I don't know. A 4th mile semi-banked dirt oval. If you know anything about the dirt racing side of things, this is a 3-time dirt car track of the year. They recently won the RPM Outstanding Annual Short Track of the Year for, of course, the Prairie Dirt Classic. So a lot of really iconic events rolling through here. So what we're grateful for is that our race director, Cody Early, he kind of wiggled his way in, finagled in, and got us to get the track tonight for the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series. And it's a late afternoon right there. It is a beautiful evening. You got 70-degree weather. There's going to be fans continuing to trickle in. You got the flagman all ready to roll. He is ready for Houston Guttering time trials, and we know you are as well. So we touched on kind of the all-time wins list earlier. Trace Wascom not currently in the series right now active. He could return at some point. He's got 13 wins in the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series, but behind him, like we mentioned, Tater Williams and Dylan Perry. Tater, all of his wins coming prior to this season. Dylan Perry, all of his wins happening this season. So a little bit of a, I don't know what you want to put on it, but there's some pressure possibly on Tater, but also Dylan. He's really got nothing to lose right now. He's proven a lot, that's for sure. Dylan Perry having won the last 2 races, both at USA International Speedway and Lanier National Speedway. So Dylan's having a great season. He's been a great addition to the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series, and now we want to see some of those other guys. Some of the 3rd through 10th place right now. There's so much parity. There's so much competition. Every single race we talk about, especially when we go through things like Houston Guttering time trials and we're able to focus on each of these guys individually. We just get a chance to say, wow, these guys are all having some pretty impressive years. And we'll touch on that more as this night goes on. But whether this is your first time, we're actually very excited if this is your first time tuning into a Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series race, because there are some names that you're going to remember, some names that you're going to notice not even in this league only. These guys really have a great reputation across the iRacing community. It's a privilege to call their races really when they're all together here on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. Normally just Wednesday nights, but we got a little back-to-back action this week. So about just under 2.5 minutes remaining until we get the action going. Of course, this is going to be tough to beat, but there was a record speed. I was looking up some track history, 14.024 by Chad Osterhoff. at this track. I'm looking at some practice speeds right now. You got a 14.59 by Zach Chapman. So we've got some speedy guys in this league, right? And I'm eager to see what speed is brought tonight, or how hard it will be to put down some fast laps, especially when you get to this racing situation. You got guys you're trying to not bump into, but also trying to make very quick and sharp turns. This is going to be a 50-lap feature when we get to it tonight. And Combs Cuts, we appreciate you supporting the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series, not only tonight, of course, but all season. So we are in for some great action. Good to see a good amount of you tuning in right now, trickling in as this night goes on. So yeah, we're going to have some great racing tonight. We've had all really sorts of tracks throughout this season. We've gone all over the, specifically, eastern United States, southeast area. Good to be in Illinois. Good Midwestern folk. Am I right? It's good to have the hospitality we have here. Very similar to Southern hospitality. So we want to know, if you're watching on the Extreme eSpeed YouTube page, we want to know who you cheering for. Who you expect? Are you cheering for someone but expecting someone else to win? That's okay. We want to know. We love the participation. We've had a few races this year where I know the comments have gotten pretty crazy, especially as the race got pretty heated, and we always love to see that. It's always in good fun. So just under 30 seconds until this practice wraps up. Right now we're enjoying all the scenic sights on Extreme eSpeed TV. Hoping to have my partner Travis Piercefield back with me next week. Just like that, practice wraps up. We will now transition into Houston Guttering time trials. There you see the qualifying ticker switch out on the left side of your screen, the Extreme eSpeed TV logo on the top right of your screen, intermixed with the beautiful logo for the 3rd annual Illinois Dirt Classic. There it is right there. Love that logo. So we're going to show you all sorts of drivers right now. This is a really cool, this is probably one of my favorite parts of the broadcast on Extreme eSpeed TV. We get to show these guys one by one, and these drivers are also different. You'll notice that we have drivers who they don't care what lane they're in. They're going to take what's given to them, and you'll have the guys who are they'll commit to the top. We're going to try and get you some qualifying here now in the moment. We're going to take a look here at the number 41 of Brian Voiles. Making his rounds right now, Mr. Brian Voiles out of Decatur, Illinois. Puts down 12.71. Jumping over to Andy Piercefield, who just put down a 12.78, so just 0.07 of a second behind Mr. Voiles right now. And we're going to jump over to Jordan Van Weston. Van Weston rocking the number 12. He's got Elite Chassis, Mid-State Machine, Bodies by FRC, Rosenbauer of America, Pizza Ranch. And he is moving pretty quickly right now. Van Weston currently sits, looks 20th in the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series point standings. And we'll jump over to DC Smith as well. DC Smith in the number 29. Team Zero Race Cars Chassis. He's got Riverside Fabrication, CBR, B&B Bates. These laps are going to go quickly, folks, so keep up with us. Qualifying right now has, looks to be Smith up top. Let's jump over now. Brett Carlton in the 224 about to go out there. He's out of Royal Palm Beach, Florida. He's got the Rocket XR1, Southern Style Racing Engines, Chip Bangers Racing, and Property Investments. So far, our best lap looks to be a tie between Brian Boyles and DC Smith, and then it looks like Andy Piercefield has 1 whole second on Jordan Van Westen. As we see Brett Carlton put down a 13.76 on his first one. We'll see if he can improve on his next. He's riding that high lane as well. That's a pretty common sight right now. Not too much dive bombing. Obviously, no reason to. These guys are searching for speed as he puts down a 12.91 in his next one. Good enough to put him, looks to be 4th. So let's see who we have up next. But to recap so far in Houston Guttering Time Trials, we have DC Smith, Brian Boyles, Andy Piercefield, Brett Carlton, and Jordan Van Westen rounding out the top 5 of 5. Still a good amount of drivers still to go here at Fairbury Speedway. Yeah, this qualifying session will go a little bit quicker. You saw how quickly we're moving those laps, and it looks like we're going to jump in possibly with Dylan Perry or Colin Boyles. Here we are with Colin Boyles right now at Dalton City, Illinois. He's got the Pierce Platinum chassis with Mount Zion Auto Service and Mount Zion Auto Express sponsoring him. We'll also jump over to the number 55 of Steven Spees out of Lee's Summit, Missouri. He's got Midwest Turbo Performance on that car. Spees puts down our fastest lap. He's got 12.65. And we're going to take a look at Mr. John Foskey. John Foskey, 2nd in the standings right now. We're going to be talking a lot about him tonight. Good to see him making laps out there. Of course, we have to mention Cody Early, the man who makes it all happen. Cody Early with that Warrior race car chassis. Good to see him riding that middle lane as well. Not taking it as high as we've seen some of the other drivers go. We have Foskey on top, Spees 2nd. Early jumps up to 7th with a pretty decent run there. We'll see who's up now. We might have Aiden Young coming up. And here comes Mr. Aiden Young. Good to see those Coolray colors back. Honestly, those colors look good really under any night sky. But Aiden Young, man, he could put down some fast laps. We'll see what he records for his first one. As it looks like that'll jump him up to 9th on the first one. John Hine running strong as well with a good 8th. Hine getting a little loose there, it looks like, but he's out of St. Louis, Missouri with the Rayburn chassis. He's got the Cruise Shop and CruiseShopFW.com partnering with him. Putting some fast laps down are these boys. As we see Aiden Young jump up to 7th. Hine jumps right back in front of him to 5th. So a little back and forth between Aiden Young and John Hine. Like to see that. So we've got 11 drivers who have qualified so far. 2nd in point standings, Foskey holds that top spot, but we have yet to see Dylan Perry out there just yet. He is our points leader. He could very well take that top spot in qualifying. We're eager to see what happens. We're going to take a look now at Mr. Austin McGlone, one of the newest additions to the league. Love having him in the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series. He puts down an 8th best time. But also showing speed right now. Ooh, a little bit of a different looking car. You got that old school McDonald's. You've got Zach Chapman putting down the 6th fastest time. Man, this man knows. If there was a swag award for a league, it's got to be Zach Chapman. Take a look at Jacob Lassiter running out here now out of Dresden, Tennessee. He's got Rayburn chassis, custom brace engines, and $399 eSports on the car. Always runs very well. Tough competitor. If you're around him, it's going to be a tough night for you. He puts down a 13.13 on his first one. So we've got the top 15 qualified. We still have, looks like, 3 or 4 more to go tonight, as we are cruising through night number 1 on Extreme eSpeed TV. Brandon Combs just put down our fastest lap. Good for Brandon Combs, and it looks like Dylan Perry and Tater Williams are headed out there now. Take a look at our points leader, the man who's feared, the man in black right now. Look at Dylan Perry go. He's riding that high lane and putting down a quick time. But we'd be remiss if we did not mention the series veteran Tater Williams. Right now, Dylan Perry looks like he's 17th on that first one. Tater Williams, we're going to see what we can get with him. Tater jumps all the way up to 2nd as Perry jumps to 5th. So Tater, we mentioned he swept this last time. He is dangerous at Fairbury. He's proven it so far in Houston Guttering time trials. Dylan Perry, man, that is some speed right there. So if we don't have Jordan Thompson going out there, he might possibly, but otherwise, we've got 1 through 17 locked in. And isn't it just fitting that Brandon Combs, in the 3rd annual Illinois Dirt Classic presented by Combs Cuts, is top in Houston Guttering time trials? You can't make this stuff up. As it looks like Justin Thompson trying to run some laps there. Might have hit the reset.
Combs, I'm putting you on your roof, Combs.
And here comes Mr. Justin Thompson. We'll see if we can get some laps from him right now. He would be the final one to qualify in Houston Guttering time trials. Let's see what he puts down for his first lap. It looks like good enough for 18th. See if he can gain some good speed on this next time around. Thompson 3rd in point standing, so expecting some good speed out of him. He jumps up to 14th after that one. And now it's just about time for our carrier heat races. That's right, carrier heat race number 1. We have Brandon Combs starting up top next to Steven Speed. 2nd row will be Brian Boyles next to Zach Chapman. And then 3rd row, Brett Carlton and Cody Early. Ready for carrier heat race number 1 on Extreme eSpeed TV. So, wow. I mean, let's take a moment to talk about that. Brandon Combs, who's a great racer, always seems to just show it and prove it to us. The fact that he takes the fastest time on the race sponsored by Combs Cuts just feels like a match made in racing heaven. So the lights are off the pace truck. This is going to be a very quick 8 laps from Fairbury Speedway. Combs, Speeds, Chapman, Boyles, Carlton, Early. They are lined up. I don't know about you, but I am ready to race. We're getting close. And ladies and gentlemen, we are green for the first time. From Fairbury Speedway, it is carrier heat race number 1. We have contact there between the 41. Looks like Brian Boyles, but taking the lead quickly from the start, from the jump, is Brandon Combs. But on his inside, he has Steven Speeds. Wants that low line, so the only thing he can get. Oh, Combs gets turned around. No caution flag as Chapman takes it. And it looks like now that first caution comes out. Let's get you a replay if we can. Presented by Coolray. So you see Combs, he's got a very comfortable lead, but it just looks like the 55. I don't know if he just gets a little clip right there, and that's all you need. Thank you to Coolray for providing our first of possibly many replays on the night, but not exactly what Combs wanted to see. It just shows he's fast, but he's still vulnerable, right? And according to our scoring and timing, we have Chapman, Carlton early as the top three, Boyles, Combs, and Speeds rounding out the last, but there might still be some shuffling going on, but a little chaos. If that's any indication of what we're going to see tonight, it is going to be chaotic, but quite entertaining. Not going to lie. As these boys are back to green, already a little bit of contact. High up there is Zach Chapman. Let's see if he can hold that line. We know these laps go quickly. 6 to go officially. Chapman in the nice looking ride has got a nice little lead, but Brett Carlton is not going to give him an inch. Let's follow along with Zach Chapman as he holds the top line. Got some nice views right now of Chapman just taking it high, taking what they give him. Kind of fanned out a little bit. It was a little chaotic as the beginning of Carrier Heat Race showed us, but it settled down a little bit with just 2 laps to go. 2 very quick laps right here. As Chapman approaches the white flag, he might be the first Carrier Heat Race winner. Hoping I don't jinx him. White flag is out for Zach Chapman, rookie to the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series. Assuming he hits his marks, he should have no problem taking home Carrier Heat Race number 1. Carlton, Spees, Early, Boyles, and the bumped into Combs, rounding out the rest. Those are practice results. So we're going to show you now what's coming up for Carrier Heat Race number 2. We will have Tater Williams on top next to Dylan Perry. It's just so fitting that the 2 men tied for second on the all-time wins list in this league start up top. John Hine next to Andy Piercefield, and then Justin Thompson next to Colin Boyles. So we are ready to race in Carrier Heat Race number 2. And we certainly had no shortage of entertainment there, right, in that first Carrier Heat Race. Not exactly what Brandon Combs wanted to see. We know what you want to see, though, right now on Extreme eSpeed TV. Tater, Dylan, approaching the green flag. Carrier Heat Race number 2 is green, green, green. Tater kind of forced to take that middle lane. Dylan Perry does not mind that at all. Tater really rolling in the dirt. Oh, a little bit of a slide move. And Dylan Perry retakes that lead quickly. We got quite the battle still there in the middle. Perry, Williams, Hine, Thompson, Boyles, and Piercefield in the rear. And these boys are moving quickly. A little bit of a bump there. Perry's not all that safe. There's still plenty of laps remaining in Carrier Heat Race number 2. These two might just go swinging back and forth. This is the battle we're going to want to see all night. Ooh, wow, almost some contact. And look at that. Tater Williams wants to go low. Almost cuts it off, but still, Perry's wise enough to just go right underneath him. No contact needed between these two. Tater is right near that rear, though. We'll see if Tater does one more little dive bomb as Perry almost goes horizontal, and we see Tater wants to do it again. Will Perry slide right back under? Yes, he will. It is looking like Tater just cannot recover from a quick dive. Oh, but might there have been a mistake there? Might this be what Tater Williams needs? It just might be. Oh, Tater into the wall. That might not help his chances right now. White flag is out in a very entertaining carrier heat race number 2. A little bit of contact there. Tater wants it. We'll see if he does one last dive bomb attempt. Tater Williams cannot do it as Dylan Perry just inches it out, and it looks like a photo type finish. But Perry will take it, followed by Williams, Hine, Thompson, Voiles, and Piercefield. Well, that means we have carrier heat race number 3 now. Second in points, but first in this heat, John Foskey will start up top next to DC Smith. Second row will be Jacob Lassiter alongside the new guy in the league, Austin McGlone. Then rounding out the rear, we have Aiden Young and Jordan Van Weston. I gotta say, carrier heat race number 1, that got me fired up. But what I just saw right there between Tater and Dylan Perry, I hope those two are near the front, if not at the front, most of this evening. That was a treat. And we know how quickly these races go. These laps just fly by. So, Pace Truck quickly takes a dive down. We are about to go green in carrier heat race number 3. From Fairbury Speedway. Green, green, green. What a jump right there. A lot of movement there in the middle of the pack. A little bit of contact. Aiden Young takes a bump. But right now, Foskey holds the lead, but just barely. As they go round and round, we've got Jacob Lassiter wanting to do exactly what Tater Williams did, and that is go low. But he's not as close as Tater was to Dylan Perry, so Foskey takes a very early, sizable lead, but still plenty of laps remaining in carrier heat race number 3. McGlone up 1 spot. DC Smith down 2 spots from his beginning position, as Lassiter gladly hopped up 1. 5 to go. The battle is in kind of that middle area right now. Let's take a look there. Austin McGlone working his way up. He's now 2 laps up. There's a little bit of contact from Lassiter and the wall. Now, McGlone's hitting his marks pretty nicely, but I'm not sure he has enough laps to catch up to the very fast John Foskey. As we jump back over to John Foskey, approaching just 2 laps to go. This one's been a little less chaotic than the first 2 carrier heat races, and that's not bad at all. We're seeing what happens when things can kind of get spread out, where these drivers are picking their lanes. White flag is out for John Foskey. Foskey would now have his 7th heat win if he just turns that lap, and he does. That is carrier heat race number 7 in terms of wins for Mr. John Foskey. He's followed up by Austin McGlone, Jacob Lassiter, DC Smith, Aiden Young, and Jordan Van Weston. So now you know exactly what this means. We are down to the Combs Cuts Last Chance Showdown. These 6 gentlemen are going to try and be a cut above, but it's a lot easier said than done. As we take a look at the starting grid for the Combs Cuts Last Chance Showdown, we'll have the 2 Voiles up top. That is Brian going first, Colin going second. It's only right? Alphabetically. Second, we'll have Aiden Young next to Brandon Combs in that second row. And Brandon Combs a little frustrated probably from the performance in the carrier heat race number 1. And then rounding out the final and third row. Andy Piercefield next to Jordan Van Weston here on Extreme eSpeed TV. So, 6 drivers, should be 12 laps. Now, all cars will make the feature, the 50-lap feature tonight. Night number 1 of the 3rd annual Illinois Dirt Classic from Fairbury Speedways, of course, is presented by Combs Cuts. Really not sure what to expect in this race. All these drivers performed so differently in their respective heat races. It's going to be interesting to see this group kind of together. I'd like to see what Combs can do. I think he's got a little frustration he wants to release. We'll also see how much he saves for the feature as the pace truck dives off. And we're pretty close now, ladies and gentlemen, to going green in the Last Chance Showdown. Three, 2, 1. Here comes the fun. It is a quick move from Voiles. I'm going to have to be more specific with Brian and Colin going back and forth. But don't look past Aiden Young. Aiden Young, a little bit of contact between the Voiles, and it is Colin taking the lead. But will Brian dive down low? Aiden Young is diving lower right now. And it is Brian still holding that lead, but Colin coming around. He's up 1 spot, and he's up to the lead right now with 10 to go in the Combs Cuts Last Chance Showdown. A little bit of excitement to kick off this one. Aiden Young still holding that lower lane. He's committed to it. I can't blame him. He's battling right now 3-4 with Andy Piercefield. Let's take a ride with Mr. Piercefield. Ooh, into the wall right there, but not out of it. Let's jump right to his counterpart, Aiden Young, on the inside. Aiden and Andy both looking really good in those Coolray colors. And hey, you even have Van Weston rocking the good colors. Ooh, Andy almost gets a little bit of a turnaround there, but he stays strong. Great wheel work right there. So we'll jump back over to our leader. Colin and Brian, they swap spots from the beginning of this Last Chance Showdown, and we're just about halfway through until we get the checkered. I'm loving the moves right now. I think Brian's testing out a few things, seeing what he can take into the race. He's building his toolkit right now. But Colin is holding strong. Colin really aggressive from the start, and it's paid off so far with just 4 to go. Three remaining is Voiles, Young, Piercefield, Van Weston, and Combs rounding out the rear. Sizable gap between 1 and 2, I'd say. Over a second and a half before either of the Voiles get to Aiden Young. Nearly 2 seconds now is the distance. So I would not sleep on Andy Piercefield maybe taking the top 3 here if he can get a little bit of a move on Aiden as we see the white flag come out. I can almost guarantee you a Voiles is going to take this one. Who will it be? Well, it looks like it'll be Colin Voiles just edging out Brian. And he will take home the Combs Cuts Last Chance Showdown win. Love the way he entered there too. So Voiles, Young and Piercefield, followed by Van Weston and Combs as we round things out. Love the dedication from our flag man. Still throwing that out there strong. Just like that, we have a 10-minute intermission before we get to the main event, night number 1 of the 3rd annual Illinois Dirt Classic presented by Combs Cuts. And with that, we're going to head to commercial break, and why not throw you into an awesome Combs Cuts commercial. We'll be right back on Extreme eSpeed TV. And welcome back, everybody, to the beautiful Fairbury Speedway, race number 10 on the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series season. As we are mere moments away, we're going to begin things, of course, as usual, with an invocation, followed by our national anthem. And before you know it, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be racing in this 50-lap feature. So let's get things started with tonight's invocation.
Good evening, everyone. This is Russ Ward with Dirt Racing Outreach. So glad to be a part of the Pro Late Model Series. Thank you all for inviting us to come aboard and open up your programs every time. If you would, at this time, join me in a word of prayer. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, God, we just thank you, Lord, for another day that you have blessed us with. Lord, we're so glad that we can come and participate in a sport that we love so much. Lord, as we go into our Mother's Day week, Lord, I just want to remember and recognize our mothers, Lord. God, I just pray that those who have their mothers still with them, Lord, that they would just take the time to love and appreciate their mothers and just reach out to them. And Lord, those who have had their mothers go on before them, Lord, I just pray that you bring them peace, Lord, and just fill their hearts and their minds full of the great memories, Lord, of each and every mother. We are so thankful for the mothers that you have placed in our lives. Be with us in our program tonight, Lord. Give each and every driver wisdom in their decision making. And Lord, most of all, just make it an enjoyable evening. Just such a privilege and an honor to be able to participate in a sport we love. And let's not get too carried away, but let's just enjoy the evening. And Lord, we just thank you again for this opportunity. We thank you for all things. Thank you for your son, Jesus, that came and died on a cross for each and every one of us and rose again, Lord, that we may have life eternal with you. God, we just worship you and we praise you and we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
And now, please rise and remove your caps for the playing of the national anthem. Thank you. And we are now just a couple minutes away from the 3rd annual Illinois Dirt Classic presented by Combs Cuts. So, this is normally the time of the broadcast where I'd throw it to my co-broadcast partner Travis Piercefield and ask him his prediction, or he'll ask me my prediction. But tonight I've got to go with the guy who's dominated all season and the guy who's dominated this league for many seasons. That's Dylan Perry and Tater Williams. That's who I'm watching tonight. I'm curious to know who you guys are watching tonight. I see in the Facebook chat we've got guys like Melvin Young hyping up the boys. And believe me, these guys are going to show exactly what they have all night as we get some scenic looks of Fairbury Speedway. Sun's starting to set here in Illinois. Good to be here in the Midwest. I'll be back at it tomorrow, hosting for y'all in the booth. Race number 11 on the season tomorrow will be night number 2. Another 50-lap shootout, I believe. Travis will be back next week when we go to the I-55 Speedway. Right now, I believe he has some personal things going on right now. He didn't disclose that. It could be anything from mono to just being too busy for us, right? Never too busy for you guys here on Extreme eSpeed TV. As we are now just a minute away. Guys are debriefing and getting ready to fire engines from Fairbury. Few more facts before we get ready to go here. Fairbury Speedway. If you've noticed how quickly Houston Guttering time trials went, and of course the Carry Heat races and the Combs Cuts Last Chance Showdown, well, that's because this is only a quarter-mile track. Semi-banked dirt oval. You look at the schedule online, you take a look at their website, and you just see they are packed with events. So this dirt, it changes every race, every night, every change in weather affects the way this track drives, and it's even changed from where we started tonight. You're noticing the preferred lines, the preferred grooves are different from when they were just throwing practice laps down. And I think you throw 50 laps on this, some chaos, we're going to see that. All right. The pace truck is out there. We are getting the guys on the track. And the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series feature is finally back up. Feels so good to say that. It's been a very long, what has it been, 27 days? It feels a lot longer than that, in 4 weeks, right? Let's take a look at our starting grid. Up top, Zach Chapman and Dylan Perry on the front row, followed by John Foskey and Brett Carlton. Third row, Tater Williams, the guy I want you to watch, right next to the new guy, Austin McGlone. Fourth row, we have Steven Spees and John Hine. Fourth row, Jacob Lassiter and Cody Early. And then, of course, we'll have Justin Thompson and DC Smith. Followed by Colin Boyles and Brian Boyles. Once again, side by side, Andy Piercefield and Aiden Young, and Jordan Weston and Brandon Combs. That is your starting grid here on Extreme eSpeed TV. The boys are firing up the engine. You can tell they're pretty excited right now. I want to know if we don't have a gambling partner, but I want to know over/under cautions. What are we thinking? 50 laps. We know there'll be chaos. I'm going to set the line maybe, if I put it at 7.5. Let me know. Over or under 7.5 cautions tonight. I think we're definitely going to see some early ones. That's just my gut feeling. As we are green, green, green from Fairbury. Zach Chapman takes us there. Cody Perry wants to take the top spot, but it's John Foskey who takes it. We jump right to the leader. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Perry cutting in there. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Looks like the 22 moving out quick. And we have our first caution as the pace truck is quick to get out there. We should be getting cautions and some replays later on in this broadcast for you. But just like that, the deck has been shuffled, and first caution of the night came quick, so that 7.5 number. The odds might be better if you took the over. But still very early. Guys are just trying to get a feel. Able to get, I believe, maybe 2 laps, maybe 2.5 laps down before that caution flag got out. Just got a little turnaround. So we're going to quickly possibly get back here to the action. Quick cleanup, and they are quickly back to the green flag. 3 laps in right now from Fairbury Speedway. 3-way. Wow, almost 4 by 4. Oh my goodness. It is chaos right now, and I am loving it here on Extreme eSpeed TV as we follow with the leader. That'll be Mr. John Foskey. He's second in points, but right now first in the race as we are 5 laps in, already 10% complete of this 50-lap feature, and it is a shootout as we remain caution-free. A little bit of contact in the middle of the pack. It's hard not to run into somebody, but it's all about keeping control, and we're seeing control being kept right now. Tater Williams, Dylan Perry, the 2 that I said to keep your eyes on, well, they are keeping their eyes on John Foskey. Will we see? Is it too early for a Tater Williams dive? This time it's Dylan Perry diving down low. And it might just work in a little bit, but Foskey is holding his own right now as we are 8 laps in. Ooh, a little bit of contact there to the rear might help Dylan Perry. If those 2 boys keep messing with each other, Perry might take advantage, but nonetheless, Foskey just a nose of a lead right now. It is a much smaller margin than it was just a lap or 2 ago. Just 2 by 2. Expect 2 by 2 this entire race with the guy right behind him, Tater Williams, waiting in the weeds right now. Already 20% through this race. It is flying by here on Extreme eSpeed TV. And we basically have 2 by 2 racing near the front. It's a large margin between the first 4 and the next, set of cars in the field as McGlone takes over Williams and Tater. Did not expect to see Tater pass, but clearly a lot of laps remaining here. Second caution comes out. We'll see if we can get this for you. Looks like Colin Voiles possibly. You want to see if we can find this on your screen. Oh, a little bit of glitchy contact, and luckily stayed out of everyone else's way, it looks like. Thank you to Coolray Heating and Air for that. Atlanta's #1 for heating and cooling. And really, we saw some interesting movement right there. I'm curious, did the caution come out before Perry got in front of Foskey, or is Foskey still our leader? I think they're still shuffling the deck right now to find out. But give credit right now to John Foskey. I mean, you see why he's second in the point standings. He was not budging. He was not giving an inch to Dylan Perry, and he was committed to that top line. And you got to think, if he wasn't there, would Dylan Perry be committed to that top line, I wonder. Tater Williams, also a name to watch out for, but Austin McGlone quickly made his name known in this race. As the pace truck is off, we are about to go green once again. 2 cautions in. And we are green from Fairbury Speedway. It is Dylan Perry out front. Able to go a little higher than he was earlier. John Foskey, not as comfortable as he probably was earlier. Dylan Perry just in front of him. Tater Williams just behind him, per usual, as Colin Voiles is near lap traffic. And if we're about to approach lap traffic now, that's going to play a big factor. It looks like Voiles has got the middle. Will he get out of the way for the leader or cause a little bit more chaos? Ooh, a little bit of a slide in and out, over and out. Look at that. John Foskey made a move. Got to respect it. We are nearly 3 wide at Fairbury. Dylan Perry holding that lead. Williams just continues to push Foskey. Very curious to see when Tater makes a move, because he's allowed Austin McGlone to take second and third from him. Perry still holding strong up top. It's going to be Voiles who might get lapped here in just a matter of moments. And there is your 3rd caution on the night. We'll see if this is the correct angle for this caution. Not sure what we saw there. Definitely wasn't that. had a pretty strong green flag run after the first caution. I think the drivers are still getting a feel for how to work this around. I mean, I'm very curious if we'll see a lap down for Colin Boyles or if it came out before they officially scored that. But nonetheless, not his ideal start to this race. Plenty of time still remaining, more than half the race to go. But Perry is proving really hard to get around, and I think that was exactly what John Foskey was trying to avoid, was giving him even the opportunity to hold space as a leader. As we talked about earlier in this broadcast, I think you do still need to watch out for Tater Williams. I think Tater in the weeds is exactly where he wants you to think he is, just in the back, out of sight, out of mind, until we start to see, lap 35, 45 come upon us. So light's still on the pace truck. Should at least go around one more time, but they look just about pretty restacked and shuffled. We've had some great racing. Beautiful view of the trees back there. Stands are a little bit off from the wall, and that might be a good thing. A lot of dirt kicking up, a lot of dirt flying right now. But this has proved to be very entertaining racing. And really, we expected nothing less, right? Pace truck lights are off. He'll dive in now, and we're about to go green once again after our third caution of the night. That 7.5 number holding strong in my prediction. And here we go, green, green, green. Good start by Dylan Perry. That is just a broken record statement. He is always great on the restarts, but John Foskey not far out of it. I want to see how he can do on this top line. Makes a little bit of contact with the ball. Not sure if that affected time much, if anything, but it's very difficult when you have Austin McGlone and Tater Williams where they are. Fourth caution comes out. We'll see if this is what it was with Cody Early. Oh, a little bit of contact there with Andy Piercefield. That might have done it. Two good guys right there in a bad situation. So we're about 40% through tonight's action. Going pretty quickly, even with our fourth caution, averaging one every 5 laps. That does not seem to bother Mr. Dylan Perry, though. I think he thrives off of restarts, so hard to imagine he's frustrated at all with any of this. Pace truck comes off, and we are going to try this again from Fairbury Speedway. Side by side, and it is a solid restart. What do you expect from Dylan Perry? He may not know what it's like on the top line tonight if he keeps staying in this position. And maybe he doesn't have a problem with that, as it seems to be working for Austin McGlone as he flip-flops with Foskey for second and third, back and forth. McGlone up 3 spots total. Don't look past Brandon Combs. He's in 7th position. Combs up 11 spots from where we started. McGlone now up 4 spots to second. Let's take a look and ride alongside Austin McGlone. Loving some of these views. This is from the fans in the stands. Wow, look at those cars. Look at that movement. It's such a fast quarter-mile dirt track. My goodness, as we jump back over to our top 3. A couple of guys making contact with the wall. That dirt must be nice up there, and it's not affecting too much of their speed, it looks like. as we are back with your leader, Dylan Perry. Just making it look easy as we are now just past the halfway point from Fairbury Speedway at night number 1. Seem to have a pretty decent green flag run going right now as the sun is setting and the lights are certainly shining brightly. But also shining bright is the stardom of Dylan Perry, and he just continues to prove he's the most dangerous man with a lead. You give him an inch, he's going to take a mile. And it doesn't take much time for him to do that. I want to take a look here at Zach Chapman as there's a little bit of chaos in the back. It's much more crowded, as you can see. A little contact in the wall there for some of the boys. Brandon Combs now up 9 spots from where he started. Ooh, might see a caution flag come out. Saw there was a guy sideways back there as we'll jump back over to our leader. Dylan Perry quickly approaching lap traffic. It looks like Van Weston and Piercefield could be that lap traffic. So if they want to kind of get closer, we might need to see a caution to get them restacked and closer. Otherwise, Van Weston is very close to getting lapped by Dylan Perry right now. Last thing you need is an incident with these top guys. It is Perry and McGlone 1-2. Foskey a distant 2.5 in the back. Are we going to see these guys move out of the way? We saw Van Weston do it. Piercefield moves out of the way as well. And it is back to being a battle between Perry and McGlone. McGlone, probably his best deep dive we've seen so far. This is where Perry thrives, though. If you go too low, he'll just slide right back around you. As we approach 15 laps remaining from Fairbury. It's been a while since we've seen someone give this much of an issue to Dylan Perry up front as we see the caution flag come out. We'll see if we can pull this replay up. Scoring says possibly Brian Voiles. We'll see if that's the case here. Yeah, and that looks to be the case. Not his fault. It looks like he might have been trying to avoid someone, but nonetheless, that brings out the yellow once again. Thank you to Coolray once again for these replays. So it's just kind of what a lot of the guys feared. It's been a while since we've had a Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series race, a few weeks, right? And this is the biggest fear. Perry in the lead. A lot of guys are essentially battling what feels like for a second place finish, but I do think if we get more lap traffic, and there are plenty of laps to go to provide lap traffic, that this could be a little bit of a wild card in the mix. It definitely slowed things down a little bit, but give credit to, McGlone and Perry. They navigated it very well. Granted, lap traffic kind of moved out of the way, but still, it's a skill to get around drivers, whether they're in front of you on the lead lap or lap traffic. These machines sure do sound good tonight, as we'll get to hear it roar in just a moment. Pace truck is off. And ladies and gentlemen, after the 5th caution, we are green, green, green. Perry out front. Nothing new. Ooh, McGlone getting a little bit of competition now. Foskey wants it. And we're going to follow along with Foskey as he jumps into 3rd, but he's battling with Tater Williams. This is about the time of the race where Tater starts to try and take over as he jumps possibly into 2nd. He's still got 3rd, just in front of Foskey. Good clean pass there. Now let's see if he can gain some ground on Austin McGlone. He just might be able to. He's committed to that top line, and he's looking really fast right now. But I am just continually impressed with Austin McGlone's performance. On the night, he has the fastest lap at 12.57. Tater, though, right after that, 12.66. So we now have just 10 laps remaining. Night number 1. The nice thing is, if something goes wrong, you know, the other 17 drivers who do not win this race, they get to go to bed tonight and know that tomorrow they can do it all over again and have a new shot at this. Track might be a little different in terms of what the surface offers, but strategy can change overnight, and I'm really eager to hear, you know, in our post-race how the second and third place drivers expect to change things up and how the winner expects to keep things the same and keep guys at bay behind him again tomorrow. So we're going to jump back over to the leaders now. We just have 7 going on 6 laps remaining from Fairbury. And really, it is just his show tonight. It started out with the Foskey performance, but Dylan Perry is just so consistent. It's incredible as we now have 5 laps remaining. Approaching some lap traffic. I'm not sure he's going to reach him in these 5 laps, and I guarantee you he does not want to reach the lap traffic with just a few laps remaining. He wants this to go as smooth as possible, and it just might, pending a caution. And it looks like the caution comes out. That is Cody early. We're going to see if we can pull that up for you. Let's see what exactly happened here. But it may have major implications on the end of this race. It may. Ooh, Cody hits the wall. Ooh, tire goes up on the wall, and then that bump there from Chapman, it certainly did not help. So if you are a fan of drama, you're getting it. I called that 7.5 cautions. I thought it was going to go over. We just hit number 6. Could this be the last caution of the night? It just might. But really, even as good as Dylan Perry is on restarts, you got to think he's like, man, really did not need that caution. He's probably thinking, I could have gone around Cody. You didn't have to throw the yellow. I would have just gone right around him. We could have kept with our evening. But nonetheless, single file restart. That pace truck comes off. Dylan Perry, just a few laps away from victory, would be his 3rd in a row. And what a fast start right there. As Perry hitting all his marks. A little bit of contact there in the back. Not sure we're going to see a caution just yet. Just a lot of bumping and grinding for position as guys try to possibly push for a top 10 maybe. Final lap. 1 to go. And what else did you expect from the points leader, the rookie, the sensation? With his 3rd straight win in a row, it is the first win and night number 1 of the 3rd annual Illinois Dirt Classic. Dylan Perry, what a show. He gets a little tap there from the competition. Got a little bit of a flip car there. But that is not going to stop Dylan Perry from taking home his 3rd straight Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series win. What a show. And we're going to get our top 3 guys dialed up here in a moment. But my goodness, what a performance. As we get a chance to look at the finishing results. That's from practice. Let's get our feature results here. Perry up top. McGlone 2nd. Williams 3rd. Foskey and Hine round out the top 5. Then you'll have Carlton, Lassiter, Thompson, Young, and Spees rounding out the top 10. And then the rest of the field, Boyles, Smith, Chapman, Early, Combs, Van Weston, Piercefield, and Voiles. So we're going to get these guys dialed up here in a moment as we continue to show these feature results from night number 1. And we're going to bring in Mr. Tater Williams right now. Tater, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Tater, you kind of laid in the weeds for a lot of the night, both in the carrier heat race and then in the feature. It always felt like you were just right there. What was the difference maker that possibly just kind of held you back tonight?
I'm not sure. Probably riding behind John. No offense to him, but just riding behind him for too long. I probably should have moved down and tried to make something happen a little sooner, and maybe tried to rail the cushion and get out in front of Perry there. But after I got by him, my car was hurt, so I don't really believe I could have caught him, or either one of the top two.
Well, you did, like you said, you did get around John, so that gets you on the podium tonight, and so you go to bed tonight. A lot of times you have to think, oh, I have to wait a week or I have to wait a few weeks in the break in the season, but you get to be right back at it tomorrow night. Is that a good thing? Is there anything mentally, internally that you're like, okay, I can do this differently tomorrow?
Oh, for sure. After how this season started and how it's went, I'm very pleased with tonight, and this is a big momentum boost going forwards. And just coming back here, it's got me excited because I swept the week last year, and it's got some notes to build off of, and maybe we can go back to the notebook and get a little speed in the car.
That's right. Well, we appreciate you spending some time with us, and while we might talk to you again tomorrow with the top 3 finish, possibly a win, wouldn't surprise us. We want to give you an opportunity to thank any sponsors here.
Yes, sir. First and foremost, I got to thank Andy Piercefield over at Coolray for all he does for me. It means the world to me. Chip Bangers Racing, all them guys over there, they also mean the world to me. If it wasn't for them guys, I wouldn't be here right now, especially Dylan Perry. I got to give a big shout out to him. He's been one of my biggest mentors. Congrats to Dylan and Austin on their run. Also, John, we put on a heck of a show there for the first 12 or so laps. And I thank BMD Bates, Combs Cuts, all the guys behind me, and thank you guys and Cody for putting on the league.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tater, and hope to talk to you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And now we are going to bring in Mr. Austin McGlone. And Austin, that was quite the performance. We're looking at some of the best speeds. You had the fastest lap out there. Did it feel like you had some good speed tonight?
Yeah, it really did. Practice really helped out a lot. Gotta give a type of the hat to Tighter on that one. Yeah, it feels like I just keep getting plagued by these yellows. I reel him in, and we get yellows, and then after that, it's fight to protect the spot that you're in from the guy behind you. But yeah, felt pretty good tonight, and can't wait for tomorrow.
It's been fun to see you kind of really start very hot since joining this league, mid-season. And something that a lot of our viewers have seen is Dylan Perry, he's so good on those restarts. When you go to bed tonight and you kind of think about what might be different tomorrow, if you're in the similar position tomorrow behind Dylan Perry, do you have any idea how you can catch up on his kind of restarts?
A little bit, I don't know. Maybe try to get a little bit more of the nose of him, or just try to figure out his timing and rhythm. Other than that, no.
Well, I appreciate you spending time with us, Austin. Of course, we're still getting familiarized with you in this league. You want to give a shout out to some of your sponsors?
Yeah, got to thank Andy Piercefield at Coolray Heating and Cooling. Everybody at CBR, they've been a big help and big support. I think, another top 3, well, I guess top 4 finish, so that really speaks for itself. KMJ Graphics, Bluegrass Motorsports Media, and I believe that's about it.
Awesome. Well, Austin, we thank you so much, and hopefully we're able to talk to you again once again tomorrow with the podium finish. But until then, get some rest, and thanks for putting on a show.
Oh, yes, sir. Yep, going to try to do one spot better tomorrow night, and Perry, I'm coming for you, buddy.
Love it. Thank you, Austin.
Yep.
As we bring in Mr. Dylan Perry, and Dylan, we're talking to these guys, Tater Williams, Austin McGlone. I think it speaks volume. You're kicking butt, but they're still throwing a lot of respect out for you. How does it feel to have your peers talk so highly of you?
It feels good, if you want to be honest. I mean, I try to help anybody in any way that I can. It doesn't matter if I race with them every week or once a month. I want to help everybody that I can, and I've tried to help those guys as much as they'll let me, and for them to be able to say that, it makes me happy.
Well, you know that they're picking your brain, and it's awesome that you're willing to share with them. I want to kind of pick your brain from just what we've seen. This is the 10th race on the season in this league, and we haven't seen a ton of lap traffic thus far. But when you get lap traffic on a very small track like this, do you have to be really careful around it? Because I mean, you hit it probably 2 or 3 times tonight. Did it ever provide any sort of issue for you? It didn't look like it was too bad.
There's a couple times that I've hit it and it kind of put me in a bind, but overall, I've kind of taken pride in being able to go through lap traffic and maneuver through them without holding myself up too much. So I try to pick and choose where I'm going, and I try to watch those guys for a couple laps before I even get close to them, so I know what they're doing, and if they're happening to make a mistake every lap, then I kind of know where they're doing that at and kind of where to shoot the gaps and hope it sticks.
Awesome. And one last question. This feels like a track where the speed might not matter as much as it does in other tracks. And I'm looking at the best times, and you're possibly around 5th or 6th in terms of the fastest time. So speed really doesn't matter as much here. It's probably more about just, is it possibly keeping control? Because you made it look pretty easy without needing to have the fastest car tonight.
This track's just all about keeping momentum throughout the green flag runs and not getting in a bind too much, which I'm usually not the fastest car out there, but I try to make consistent laps, and that's what helps me out the most, is just being able to make consistent laps and not bobble too often.
Awesome. Well, Dylan, we appreciate you always talking to us, whether it's 3rd place, 2nd place, or most recently a few wins in a row. So hopefully we get to talk to you again once again tomorrow on the podium, but nonetheless, have a great night, and thanks for putting on a show.
Thank you, and thank y'all for putting this on.
Yes, sir. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, feature results are up. We had Perry, McGlone, Williams, your top 3, Foskey and Hine, top 5, and then rounding out the top 10, Carlton, Lassiter, Thompson, Young, and Spees. So quite the show right there. And with that win, by the way, we don't have any cake here in the booth, but Dylan Perry, 7th win all time, and that'll put him up there on the all-time wins list. And Tater and he are battling right now, and we got a really fun one tomorrow. Race number 11 on the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series season. Still the 3rd annual Illinois Dirt Classic presented by Combs Cuts. We want to see you right back here same time tomorrow on Extreme eSpeed TV. But until then, get some rest. Like us on the Facebook page at both Extreme eSpeed TV and the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series. Be sure to subscribe as well on the YouTube page. You'll get the notification when we go live. It'd be as easy as possible. But once again, on behalf of Travis Piercefield, next time will be with us. But until then, thank you so much for watching. I'm Adam Johnson. This has been the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series on Extreme eSpeed TV.
This copyrighted broadcast of Extreme eSpeed TV Network is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without express written consent of the Extreme eSpeed TV Network is strictly prohibited. We hope you've enjoyed this broadcast.